Coming up this week on Talk with Audrey, taking a road trip this summer, automotive expert Nick Miles has some tips to help you enjoy your time on the road, skip the tourist traps, and find America's hidden gems. Board Certified Dermatologist Dr. Adam Friedman is going to talk with us about a new treatment for eczema and how children and adults can manage their disease and maintain clear skin. Lindsay Creed is Associate Director of Audiology Practices at the American Speech Language Hearing Association, and she's going to speak with us today about how younger adults who play video games are regularly putting their hearing at risk, and some might already be experiencing hearing difficulties. It's all coming up this week on Talk with Audrey. Insightful, intelligent, and inspiring conversations and information to help you improve the quality of your life. It's all about the business of living. I'll be right back after the break.
I think it starts this momentum toward, I can do this. I now know what's needed to be a leader, to be successful. You know, as a young girl, to see and be influenced by a successful, confident woman, to have her show me that I could be that I could be her one day, that was a sea change for me. That's why Junior Achievement. Now I'm that volunteer. I'm empowering that next girl.
I'm Tim McGraw, and I have a challenge for you. Nearly 30 million Americans have diabetes. Most have type 2 diabetes. I've seen firsthand how it impacts Americans from all walks of life. It's affected my family, friends, and fans. That's why I'm speaking out about how important it is for those living with type 2 diabetes to get their blood sugar under control. I'm encouraging all Americans to join me and challenge their family and friends with diabetes to get to their A1C goal. I've learned that about 1/3 of adults living with diabetes are not at their A1C goal, which can lead to serious health problems over time. Let's change that. If you have diabetes, take the challenge. Pledge to work with your doctor to set and reach your own A1C goal. Also, be sure to learn if you're at risk for low blood sugar and how to reduce that risk. I'm a strong believer in making healthy choices, and I want to help my family, friends, and others with diabetes do the same. Join me now at americasdiabeteschallenge.com. Together, we can make a difference.
You're watching Talk with Audrey. Welcome back. Did you know that 3 out of 4 Americans are going to be taking a road trip this summer? Joining me, automotive expert Nick Miles, with his tips to help you enjoy your time on the road, skip the tourist traps, and find America's hidden gems. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you, Audrey.
So, Nick, I understand you're embarking on a really big road trip. Tell us all about it.
I am. The road trip happens every 2 years. It's called Mini Takes the States, and it's where 3,000 Mini owners drive usually about 9 or 10 days or so this year. And again, last time it happened was 2 years ago. This year we're going from Albuquerque, New Mexico to Seattle, Washington, and 5 different states in between, 9 different cities, and experiencing some of what America has to offer with the partners Keep America Beautiful and American Camp Association, really learning about what our country has to offer us as road trippers.
Wow, that's some trip, and I gotta tell you, that's 3,000 minis?
Yes, 3,000 Mini owners, usually somewhere between 300 and 600 Minis each day. Some people join at certain cities and they leave at certain cities. Not every one of us can take around 2 weeks off to actually do a road trip.
Right, well, I was gonna say that you guys probably have some great caravan escorts too.
Absolutely. In fact, Audrey, it takes about an hour for everybody to leave what we call the Rise and Rally every morning. There's a big festival type atmosphere in each city that we go into. When everybody lines up and they all drive off together, it takes about an hour for everybody to leave, and there's a lot of flag waving and horn honking and cheering and loud music.
Oh, that's fabulous. So am I also to assume, Nick, that folks are going to be camping along the way?
There is a lot of people that camp. Some people stay in hotels. Of course, if you bring your dog, camping is a great fun thing to do as well. An American Camp Association is part of the organizations that Mini is supporting this year in Mini Takes the States, along with Keep America Beautiful. Everybody's visiting national parks, they're visiting state parks, seeing some of the great sights along the way, and really learning about road tripping in America. Now, this community is amazing. I've done it since 2016, every 2 years. I meet the same people, I meet new people. I've met dogs when they were puppies, now they're adults along the way. Cynthia Womble is a retired Navy captain from the Carolinas. I met her in 2016 when she was teaching her son Robert to drive, and I've met her every 2 years on Mini Takes the States.
That's great, and it takes a lot to go on a road trip. But Nick, how do you turn that into a great vacation?
Planning, Audrey, is the real thing to do. And this is why you can utilize partners like Keep America Beautiful and the American Camp Association. They've done a lot of the legwork for you ahead of time to plan out where you can go, campsites for kids, less privileged kids, places that you can take boats and trailers and campsites, national parks. There are over 400 of them in the United States, over 6,000 state parks. They have a lot of these places listed. You can research and look these places up and really have a tool there in your back pocket to allow you to experience this great land that we have to offer at our fingertips.
You mentioned volunteering. Can you tell us how people can give back while taking in great scenery and going on that wonderful trip up the coast?
Absolutely. Some people like to find tree planting, things that they can do along the way to keep America beautiful. One of the things that I like to do is go into local shelters and actually walk the local dogs. I do that, and I've got a little surprise for you here, Audrey. Bagel. This is Bagel. She is from Utah Beagle Rescue, and Bagel is a dog that I've been walking today here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I go into the local shelter and find ways to give back and to walk some of those dogs. They get to sit in kennels all day, and one of the things I can do is get them out to see some of the great American outdoors.
Oh, wow, Bagel, so sweet. What a wonderful thing to be able to do.
Absolutely, and I tell you, volunteering and leaving America a little bit better than we found it is my main goal, and I love it when I meet people along the way that want to do that as well.
So Nick, I know that there's a lot that goes into planning an extended car trip. What about packing? Because sometimes, you see folks going cross country and that car is packed to the gills.
Absolutely, and remember, I've been doing this with 3,000 other Mini owners in a Mini, so there isn't endless amounts of space. The new Countryman is very spacious and a great luxury ride, but I've also remembered things like they make travel size mouthwash now. You don't have to bring the whole liter bottle along with you. And don't forget the things that you use every day, like charging cables, your tablet, snacks along the way. Probably the most important thing, by the way, is snacks when you do road tripping. But keep well hydrated. Bring a cooler with ice with all of your drinks. If you've got kids along the way, make sure they have some kind of entertainment. And choose and create your playlist before you hit the road so you can actually have music and fun as you go out and see this beautiful country that we call America.
So I used to go cross country with my parents as a child to see my grandparents. And well, I just remember bugging the you-know-what out of them, talking about, are we there yet? When are we going to get there? Yeah, so folks better take some games, some snacks, some music, right?
Absolutely. We love to play the game when we're in the car of how many minis we can see. I won't say it's called Punch Mini because, we're nice to our siblings, but we like to see how many other minis we can spot along the way.
Ah, that sounds like a great game. And what about some of your favorite hidden gems and favorite stops as you're driving?
Yeah, so it depends which state you're in, but you have to think about it. Car museums is one of the things that I love to do. I'm an automotive journalist by trade, so I love to visit car museums. There's only 4 states in America that don't have car museums. There's an average of about 15 car museums every state. Whether you're into going to museums, you're into seeing the great outdoors, you're into water parks, cooking classes, you can find everything in every different city. You have to tailor the road trip for what you and your family love, and there are a lot of things to love in America.
And that's where the planning really comes in. So Nick, where can we go for some more information?
You can check out minitakesthestates.com. That'll give you a portal into the American Camp Association along with Keep America Beautiful. You can also find out about the trip that we've been taking with 3,000 other Mini owners. And at the same time, you can follow us on social media at MiniUSA or the hashtag MTTS2024, which stands for Mini Takes the States.
Have a great time. It sounds like quite the trip.
We will, and also we hope to see you guys out on the road this summer.
I hear you. I'll be there. And I'll be right back after this.
Atrial fibrillation, or AFib. It affects your heart, but it can also affect your mind. Why? Because of stroke, which can hit you in an instant, but wipe out a lifetime of your memories. It is such a simple word to say, but can make so many of your words hard. It's not seen internally and affects you externally. The risk of stroke is 5 times higher in those with AFib. And for those with AFib, related strokes are twice as likely to severely disable or even kill. By 2050, an estimated 12 to 16 million Americans will have AFib. By preventing blood clots from forming, AFib patients can lower their risk of stroke. Talk to your doctor. Find out your risk and how to reduce it. Visit myafib.org.
You're watching Talk with Audrey. Welcome back. Well, as you may know, summer should be filled with days at the beach, picnics in the park, and road trips with friends. But unfortunately, if you're struggling with eczema or atopic dermatitis, which is a chronic reoccurring inflammatory skin disease, the heat and the summer products can cause a flare-up. My guest today is board certified dermatologist Dr. Adam Friedman, and he's going to talk with us about a new treatment for eczema and how children and adults can manage and maintain clear skin. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Doctor, so many people struggle with eczema, especially in the warmer weather. Why does it flare up in the summer?
Yeah, so a bunch of different reasons. And this is a condition, to be clear, that can affect someone all year round. But unique things with the summer is the physical heat, the sweating that ensues, and also all the products we're applying to our skin to protect ourselves from, for example, the sun and bugs. All of these combined or individually can worsen an active flare of eczema or bring one about. So it makes it really hard to enjoy yourself during this time that's supposed to be a lot of fun.
So what sorts of products should people with eczema avoid, and what's in the products that could actually trigger a flare-up?
Yeah, so it's going to be unique to that individual. You know, we kind of divide it into things to which a unique person will react, called allergic contact dermatitis, or could further disrupt the skin barrier, being an irritant contact dermatitis. There's not a one size fits all. And to that point, I think it's always good when trying a new product to do a test spot first. Don't apply it all over and hope for the best, but rather pick a location maybe on the forearm and try a new product for a couple of days to make sure it doesn't worsen or bring about your condition. But yeah, unfortunately, I wish there would be a simple answer to that, but often it could be unique to that individual.
Talk to us some more about exactly what eczema is.
Yeah, so you kind of started to hit on that with this being not only one of the most common chronic skin conditions, but it is a recurring and relapsing one that we have so much data showing that it has an extraordinary impact on quality of life. Its appearance can be quite diverse, which can make the diagnosis a little challenging even to a dermatologist. It can appear as pink or red or purple, broad or even individual papules and plaques. These are raised spots that can be scaly, they can be oozy, and even blistering. What I find to be the common thread, though, is a unique itch. It's an itch that feels incredible to scratch, which adds to this burden because the more you scratch, the worse it gets. But also there's this kind of blame game that can happen where people say, well, hey, if you just stop scratching, it goes away. And that's absolutely incorrect. The only way we're going to cool up that itch is if we address the underpinnings of disease, which is a combination of inflammation gone wild and dry skin.
And so scratching makes the eczema worse?
It absolutely can. Absolutely.
And there isn't anything that you can do to stop the itching at all?
Oh, well, that was a great lead in. Absolutely. There's plenty we can do and even more things coming down the road. So first and foremost, basic rules apply here, which is going to be using mild soaps or soaps that are designed for eczema, but really limiting soap use. Soap can absolutely dry the skin out further, and dry skin alone can cause itching, let alone in the setting of atopic dermatitis. But more importantly, applying a moisturizer to damp skin after the bath or shower to lock that moisture in, which actually has a cooling effect, but also it actually gives the skin what it needs to form an appropriate armor or barrier to the outside world. But when this doesn't cut it, which in many times it doesn't, that's where FDA-approved therapies, both topical as well as systemic, meaning inside out, can really make a big difference. And the most recent one that was just approved is Zoryve, or roflumilast 0.15% cream, which is a once daily topical indicated for mild to moderate eczema for 6 years and up. And when you think about eczema affecting a wide range of ages, it's really important to have something that's studied in those age ranges to understand how it's going to behave from both a safety and an efficacy standpoint.
Wow. So would you please say the name of the medication again? And also, do you have to apply it throughout the day, like say you would a sunscreen? And is its use limited to the area that's affected?
So the name of the medication is Zoryve, and the other name of it is roflumilast. And that's an important point because this is actually once a day dosing, which doesn't seem like a big deal if you don't have to apply some of your skin multiple times a day. But as we know, even to your point with sunscreen, it's hard to get people to reapply. Adherence to recurring treatment regimens over time that are more than once or twice a day can be challenging. So that once a day application to affected areas, I think actually improves adherence, which ultimately means better outcomes.
Well, so I understand that a lot of people who have eczema want to cover up. They want to put on long sleeves and pants, and they just want to cover up because they don't want other people to see it. Does that do more harm than good? I mean, skin has to breathe.
It can for a couple of different reasons. So in the setting, for example, of high summer heat, if you're wearing long sleeves because you're embarrassed by the appearance of atopic dermatitis, which I hear that all the time from my patients, that heat and sweating could absolutely make things worse, let alone, for example, the fabric. Wool cotton, for example, can sometimes make eczema worse as well. So there are a lot of things that can contribute. But I think more importantly is that impact on self-reflection, on self-confidence. We know that those suffering with atopic dermatitis have a tremendous mental health burden. So that's why it's so important to seek the care that these individuals deserve and get on an FDA-approved treatment regimen to clear the skin.
Absolutely. It sounds like it would make life so much easier for people with eczema. But people also have to know which questions to ask their doctor. So how can someone who has eczema make a determination with their doctor about whether or not this will work for them?
Yeah, and I think you just nailed it on the head. It's having that conversation. I think a good rule of thumb, if you develop a new rash that does not resolve with over-the-counter approaches and persists for a couple of weeks, seeking the help of a board-certified dermatologist or a member of a dermatology team to assess what the condition is, and then if it is, for example, atopic dermatitis, which medication makes the most sense. We really try to personalize the approach. And that's what's so wonderful about having expanding armament of FDA-approved therapies, drugs that were designed for this condition and underpinnings of the disease. It makes our job that much easier to manage this. And so if ever, in history, do we have so many options that are effective and safe, it's right now. So there certainly is a lot of hope for these patients who, without that assistance, will absolutely suffer and have a impact on every facet of life.
So there's hope out there. Where can people go, doctor, for more information?
So you can certainly seek out the advice of a board-certified dermatologist, as well as go to Zoryve, ZORYVE.com for more information about this medication and about atopic dermatitis.
All right. Thanks again for joining me. And everyone, be sure to speak with your doctor or your healthcare provider. Thanks again, Dr. Friedman.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
There's more to come on Talk with Audrey after the break. Welcome back. According to a new poll, it's a collaboration with the American Speech Language Hearing Association, the World Health Organization and Pan American Health Organization, and the World Health Organization Collaborating Center for Rehabilitation and Global Health Systems at the University of Lucerne. Younger adults who play video games are regularly putting their hearing at risk, and some are already experiencing hearing difficulties. Lindsay Creed is a doctor of audiology and associate director of audiology practices at the American Speech Language Hearing Association, and she's going to talk with us today about the results of the poll and how it could lead to new World Health Organization safe listening guidelines. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you. Opportunities such as these are key in order to raise awareness of hearing loss prevention and safe listening practices around video gameplay for our U.S. young adults.
So, how detrimental could playing video games be to our hearing?
Absolutely. Video games can cause irreversible hearing damage. Once you lose your hearing due to harmful noise exposure, it is not coming back. This can have a huge impact on quality of life. Our recent survey showed that most video gamers valued their hearing and recognized that it would have a significant impact on their quality of life if they lost their hearing. They were willing to take steps to mitigate the risks of hearing loss from video game play and would be open to using safe gaming features and don't feel that they would interfere with their ability to play these games.
Tell us about the recent poll. What were the results and were they surprising?
We surveyed over 1,700 young adults ages 18 to 35 to get a sense of their video gaming habits to help inform the World Health Organization's creation of a new global listening standard around safe listening practices for video game play. Over 3/4 of the respondents indicated that they likely engage in harmful listening activities, with over half of them reporting that they use headphones at levels that are probably too loud for their hearing or for long periods of time that they believe could be harmful. Unfortunately, about 1/3 of the respondents are already noticing difficulty hearing. Many of them are experiencing trouble having conversations in background noise. Some of them are experiencing tinnitus, which is a ringing, buzzing, or hissing in the ears. And for these individuals, they may be on their way to irreversible hearing loss if they don't have it already. The good news that came out of this survey is that they are willing to take steps. They are willing to use features to prevent further damage or damage to their hearing due to video game play. Some features that we polled them about would be safe listening modes, features that would lower the volume of background noises within the video game software, features that would decrease or remove sounds that could exacerbate their tinnitus or their ringing in the ear. And they would be open to learning about prevention tips.
That's all great news. You mentioned the global standard for safe listening. When do you think that would be available?
The World Health Organization is expecting to launch this new safe listening standard within the year.
And what steps can video gamers take currently to help protect their hearing?
Outside of features that may be optional within their headsets or earphones or the software of their video games, they can also try to keep the volume level to about 50% or less on their personal listening devices. They can take frequent breaks every hour or so, get up, take the headphones off, walk around, give those ears a listening break. I would also recommend using noise canceling headphones when appropriate or when available, as these will lower the tendencies of the user to crank up the volume to cover up whatever's going on in their environment, and hopefully allow them to listen at safer, lower levels. The final thing is to just pay attention to their bodies. Pay attention to if you start to notice muffling of the sound, difficulty hearing in background noise, or a tinnitus, like I mentioned, go see an audiologist. If you're not sure whether or not you should go see an audiologist, begin with a simple step like an online hearing screener. This can be found at www.asha.org/public. You'll find a link to hearing screening, and there's a simple online screener there. You'll also see that we have a ProFind directory tool that can be used to match young adults with audiologists in their area, and hearing testing is offered covered by insurance.
Lindsay, is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to mention regarding this? Because it's pretty important.
I would just like young adults to recognize how important this is and how much of an impact this can have on your quality of life. So often I see patients that have irreversible hearing damage, and they wish they could go back and speak to their younger selves about how difficult it is once they actually sustain that damage, and how much they wish they could have implemented some of those safer listening habits when they were younger. So be informed, know your risks, learn about your hearing protection, check out some of our resources on hearing and hearing protection at asha.org/public.
All right, Lindsay Creed, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me and for the platform.
And that's it for this week's show. I'm Audrey Adams. Join me here next week for more insightful, intelligent, and inspiring conversations and information to help you improve the quality of your life. It's all about the business of living. I'll see you next week.